It's been a week since Season 9 got released. I did some predictions before Season 9 got released on the heroes that I expected were going to be strong going into this season. And now, let's see if my list changed or not. So this is the tier list of Season 9 heroes, my opinion of them, based on my experience and ranked in Grandmaster games. We're going to start with the tanks first. I have the categories. We have hard carries, great picks, only if it's your main, too much effort, and no idea. The hard carries are the ones that I would say kind of like define the meta, are very strong. The great picks are the ones that work in the majority of situations. You might have some team comps that counter these heroes. You can play around them. They're not like incredibly broken. Only if it's your main, you can get value out of them, but you have to have more than just 2 or 3 hours on those heroes. You have to have a lot of experience on those heroes to make them work. We have some heroes in the category for too much effort, in which I think you're better off playing heroes from the first 3 categories, getting more value out of them, because this is going to feel like an uphill battle if you want to play with them. And also we have a special category you're going to see in the DPS part of the video, where we talk about heroes that are not, I don't know how strong they are, right? Because we don't have, I haven't played them that much, I haven't seen them that much in games. So without further ado, let's just dive in. We have great picks for tank heroes in Season 9. Wrecking Ball being the first mention. Ball has seen a lot of gameplay because of Zenyatta. Ball plus Zenyatta synergize super well. Zenyatta just discords somebody. Ball goes for that person. Perfect combo. Ball doesn't require that much healing, so playing with support duos that don't offer that much healing, such as Zenyatta Lucio or Zenyatta Brig, is very good for Ball. Not to mention that he can regenerate HP out of combat, same as for every hero in the game, that is, because of the newly added healing passive. Ball great pick overall, can be countered though by, guess who? Zenyatta, because of the Discord Orb. Sigma has been one of the strongest tanks in the game since the release of Overwatch 2, I feel like. He's just consistent. Sigma is like how Baptiste is for supports. You can almost always play him. Sometimes you're not gonna pop off exactly, but he's just a great pick overall. Like, things didn't change that much for him. He's good with almost every support during the game. He's good with almost every DPS comp. He's just not that good in dive comps overall. But Sigma is a solid pick. If you play like a lot of tanks, then Sigma should be one of them if you want to add them to your hero pool. Moving on, D.Va. I did not expect D.Va to be that strong going into Season 9. The reason why I put her as a great pick is because I did not perfectly envision, when I did the tier list a week ago, how good D.Va is versus Zenyatta. I know how it feels like. I know you're gonna be like, well, what do you mean? Well, if D.Va gets discorded, then she can just fly away and cleanse the Discord Orb. Cleanse it. Wait for it to be removed from her, right? Because Discord Orb has a cooldown right now, in which, like, once you apply it to a target, after you get rid of it, the target gets rid of the Discord Orb by LOSing it or by you swapping the discorded target, then you cannot apply the Discord Orb to the same target for a couple of seconds. And D.Va's mobility is on a pretty short cooldown. Not to mention that in case she's out of position, she can just defense matrix the damage while she kites back into cover and then shifts out. So D.Va is super good right now, a great pick. Junker Queen. I think that Junker Queen can work. I think that Junker Queen is still a pretty strong pick. Obviously, she's like more map dependent than these 3 heroes, I would say. You can play Junker Queen definitely on Flashpoint maps, I think they're called, like Sugavasa and New Junk City. Play around corners, go fast and explode. When I'm losing with Junker Queen in my team is when they play slow. Discord Orb being applied to her is very easy, you don't have to aim it. But I've seen a lot of Junker Queens just not commit, you know, they hesitate. So if you play Queen, be fast, and you will probably get value out of it. Out of playing with Queen, I mean. Not to mention that Junker Queen's ultimate is a pretty strong ult to counter Zenyatta's Transcendence. So I can see potential for her, but you have to be decisive when you play her. Moving on, Doomfist. I think Doomfist is a pretty underrated pick. I've played with some Doomfist players in my team, and I saw the ones that main him. The difference is absolutely huge. Like, experienced Doomfist players can play very fast, and the way that I've seen them is like, they just are all over the place. They just punch up or the uppercut, just go in, get out non-stop. They can also, because they have a lot of mobility, can kind of like get rid of the Discord Orb from Zenyatta. It's just a little bit annoying for him when he dives in against Zenyatta and against Zenyatta and against Lucio and against Brig, because he's just gonna get booped all over the place. This being said, I think that people are kind of underestimating him. If you play in an organized team, if you communicate a lot, I think you can get value out of him, but you gotta play fast, you can't play slow. Moving on to Ramatra. I think Ramatra's pretty good, pretty strong. I think that he's good on obviously like close corridor maps, so definitely I could see Ramatra being played on Lijiang Control Center. But again, he is kind of dependent in this case on having a Lucio in his team to close the distance for him to actually be able to reach the enemy backline, because right now the meta is very is just revolving around Zenyatta's Discord Orb. So close the distance, get good with your E, with your slow, and it's gonna be fine. The one problem that he has though is I feel that he doesn't work that well with Zen. He kind of like has a counter style of play, you know, like for Ramatra wants to brawl, Zen wants to poke. So you probably are gonna be playing with Lucio Bop with a Ram or Lucio Moira rather than with a Zenyatta. And him having Zenyatta and Lucio in his team or stuff like that, like a low healing team comp, that's not gonna be enough. Moving on, so I'm surprised with how well Winston works. I thought that Winston was going to be so bad going forward into Season 9, but I've played like with some Winston mains, and oh my god, do you know how they play? Jump. They just go jump. They see enemy, jump. Do not hesitate. You cannot peek around the corner, bait the Discord or whatever. You go somewhere, you jump. You don't even think, you jump. You just go. You have your jump, you go. You have your jump, you go. Just go non-stop, because if you wait, you will get poked down. Why does he work though? Well, if he finds somebody and you play with a DPS that can follow up on your dives like a Tracer, even a soldier, if he does 1 damage from across the map, shoots the same target that you're focusing, then you're going to be able to melt those targets because they will not be receiving that much healing. So I think that a lot of people are still like thinking that Winston's not that good, but I feel like he is actually pretty good right now. Just go non-stop. And now moving on to heroes that require too much effort, we have Zarya. Yes, you will get charged in this. Yes, everything's gonna be fine, but she has 2 big problems. Number 1, mobility. She doesn't have a lot of mobility, so she cannot like, of course she can just right-click herself to get high ground, but she cannot close the distance as fast as heroes like Ball can or Diva can, for instance. And if, let's say she gets charged, she has range to the charge. The charge is not infinite. And right now with everybody sitting in the back and speed boosting around and running around, who's she gonna damage? Yes, she's gonna have 100 charge, but who's she gonna damage, bro? Roadhog. Roadhog is just an ult battery. Roadhog is how he felt before the rework, I feel like, if you have him in your team. Yeah, like, yeah, he's gonna get hooks. Yeah, his ultimate is good at forcing people off the map and stuff. Yeah, he's just the presence overall, but for Zenyatta, it's just no threat. Honestly, Zen will never get hooked. The supports will never get hooked with Roadhog. Ho can't just like walk in like this and create that much pressure. He's just gonna get farmed. He probably will get some kills, probably will not die that much, but I personally feel like Roadhog is, unless you're a Roadhog, very, very good at a Roadhog, you're probably just going to not be able to control as much space as you could before. You're gonna be stuck just vaping consistently rather than looking for opportunities. You're gonna struggle to stay alive. Speaking of struggling to stay alive, we're moving to Mauga. Same thing. Mauga, I think that when they released him, they gave him like a lot of good changes that made him really strong. Obviously, because of the numbers, he was meta, but after that, I don't know what is quite his place. What can he do better than that other tanks can't? You know, what does he excel at? Does he excel at poke? Does he excel at brawl? Does he excel at finding somebody in 1v1? I was like, what does he, why would you play Mauga compared to other tanks? He doesn't have a way of cleansing the Discord orb with like avoid getting damage other than just hide around a corner or use his, I don't know that ability name, I'm sorry. The one in which you get like lifesteal. Other than that, yeah, you can regenerate, you can get some overhealth and stuff, but he's just feels the same as Hawk, just a big ult battery. Okay, Reinhardt. I thought that Reinhardt was going to be way better in Season 9 because I speculated that the Rush was going to be the team comp to play. I did not expect Zenyatta to be this strong. Poor Reinhardt can't play that well right now because of Discord Orb. His shield gets blown up very fast. He cannot close that much space. You're better off playing any other heroes in this category. I don't know. Reinhardt might be good if Zen will be nerfed in the future, if they're going to do that, as you can just close the distance and get to them. But right now, when you see a Reinhardt in the enemy team, you just play range, and although Reinhardt can kind of walk into them, the damage is a little bit too much. Plus, if you get focused down by the DPSs too, you cannot keep a Reinhardt up in this case. He relies a lot on supports keeping him up, as he has no way of sustaining himself, and the DPS passive plus the Discord Orb is a bit too much for Reinhardt to handle right now. Also, last pick here, I would go with Orisa. Orisa should be fine, I think, number-wise, but again, there are consequence of Zenyatta being strong, Discord Orb being strong. She can remove the Discord Orb by LOSing it, but she kind of like wants to go in you. So I think that she has potential. I'm just seeing a lot of Orisas that hesitate, right? I think that Orisa does a ton of damage, but I feel like Orisas are usually played to anchor a point, to like hold a certain position. And I don't think that this playstyle works specifically in this meta. I think that if you go fast and go deep with her, which might be a little bit counterintuitive to her playstyle, you can still get value out of her. But making her work kind of requires too much effort and a lot of different factors to make her viable in game. So this is for the tank list. Moving on, let's go on to the DPSs. Hard carries, Tracer. I think that Tracer benefits from the healing passive. Tracer benefits a lot from the 20% reduced healing passive too. Tracer is just insane. And she also, it's easier to land bullets with her because of the projectile increase, and also she can stay in fights out for longer because of more HP. Tracer can do everything. Tracer can force payload, Tracer can go on the flank, Tracer can spawn camp. Tracer is absolutely amazing. She's an incredible hero right now in Season 9. She does not need any help from teammates to be viable. She can just, if she has a bad game, you can just force point, you can stay there for longer because you have the healing passive and you have more HP in case you take damage. You do not require to get out of the fight and find a health pack or ask for healing from one of your supports. So Tracer, give her a go. And also, because you can stay alive in the fights longer, Pulse Bomb, I think, is the fastest farming ultimate in the game. You're going to have your Pulse Bombs non-stop. Plus, one more thing with Tracer is you can stay outside of boop distance if you want to go for the backline, so you don't have to like worry to just dive the Zenyatta and then he's going to kick you away. If you're smart about it, you can play around the boop ability that supports are having right now in the backline, the ones that are being played. Great picks. Sojourn. I think that Sojourn is like roughly the same as Sigma and Baptista. Sojourn is just good overall. The breakpoint affected her. I don't think that she can like one-shot anymore. The increased HP kind of affected her. You can, because everybody has more HP and she has more HP, she can farm her railgun a little bit faster. She's just reliable, you know? So I feel like Sojourn is more, you don't know what DPS to play in that team comp and stuff. I think that you should be okay by just playing Sojourn. Her mobility is good, the ultimate is annoying, it's just Sojourn, okay? I think that a lot of you are probably going to be going like, she's not that strong, she's not that strong, she's not that strong. In some team comps, these heroes do not work. When you don't know what DPS to pick, I think just pick Sojourn, and strictly because of that, she is a great pick. She works almost everywhere. Moving on, Genji. Genji is similar to Tracer playstyle-wise. The only big difference is that I feel like he can't force objectives that much, and that he has two differences, and that he has vertical mobility. Genji's okay. His blade is a little bit faster than before. You just play Genji for the deflect, for the tiny off angle in the back, for the poke, and when you see the opportunity, you go. This is how the meta is right now. You wait or you go really fast. So these are like the two options. You either see them and go instantly, which Genji can follow up with his dash, or you poke, and then you go. So Genji is a great pick overall. You don't need Nano Blade to be efficient. Genji is more than just using his blade. Widowmaker. Widowmaker headshots right now are scary. I've seen like so many Widowmakers say that they missed the hit and got the headshots. Right now on sniper maps, Widowmaker is a must. Widowmaker playing from a long distance is the only... Widowmaker is actually the only hero in the game currently that can one-shot without having to use abilities, apart from Hanzo that can one-shot Tracers and Widowmakers. Because Hanzo does 240 damage, Tracer has, I think, 175, I think, and Widowmaker has 200. Widowmaker can headshot 250 HP targets. If you played Widow before, play Widow again, you're going to have an amazing time with her. Unfortunately, though, for a lot of us, on some maps, you're just at the mercy of which team has the better Widowmaker. You can deal with her if you play with Ball and Zenyatta and stuff, sure, fine, but I've never seen like Widowmakers take control over the lobby harder than I've seen in the first week of Season 9. And Soldier 76, I'm a little bit surprised with how Soldier 76 is, because Soldier has been... What Soldier does right now in the meta is he just goes in the backline and shoots. I'm not kidding. He goes in the backline and shoots. He has more HP. He also has his healing pad. It's easier to land bullets with him, right? It's easier to land your shots. He only needs to do 1 damage, same as every other DPS, to activate the passive. If he's in the backline, there's no shield usually in front of him because the shield is going to be to people there, not to people in the back, which is only him. He's reliable. He's excellent with a pocket. Like, you can play Soldier and Mercy, and he's just incredible. Just a good pick overall. Do not expect to get a lot of kills out of Visor. He's also reliable. But the reason why I put Soldier a little bit lower down in the great pick category is because I feel like Soldier's mobility might be a little bit better, is a little bit better actually, against hypermobile team comps than Soldier 76's is. The way that I see Soldier 76 lose games is if they stay a little bit too much in the back line and they try to and they think that they can get out of there. That is what I'm thinking. But Soldier is a really strong pick right now. Moving on, Echo. I think that Echo is good. I think that Echo is pretty good. She does well in low healing team comps. Copy is pretty strong, easier to land your shots. Her beam does also percentage damage, same as Discord Orb does. So she works really well in like the new HP buff changes. Copy is still a valuable ultimate. She's just good all across the board, you know? I feel like it's not necessarily if it's your main or it's too much effort. She just works, you know? So if you want to just stay in the sky, if let's say they play with Tracer Genji and you don't want to stay and get dived, maybe consider going Echo and going all the way up on high ground, like just try to stay up in the air. So I would consider playing Echo if the enemies don't have hit scans, and if you feel like they're playing hyper dive, I think you can get away with playing Echo a lot. Ashe. Ashe is the pick that I decided on putting in great picks in the last couple of days. A lot of people have been speculating that Ashe with TNT will just absolutely decimate everybody in the enemy team if they stay grouped up together, which I agree, because you're gonna trigger the DPS passive that denies you like 20% of the healing received for 2 seconds. I'm seeing that being played, but I think that she also works really well with a pocket. And she's pretty good against the heroes that are being played over here as well. If you have an Ashe with a great aim, go for it. And Bobby got buffed too. So Bobby does a little bit more damage, and Bobby, from what I know, can also initiate the DPS passive. Mei and Reaper, I'm going to talk about both of them at the same time because they roughly have the same playstyles, they excel in the same maps. They're more like map-specific heroes. If it's a close corridor map, Mei and Reaper with a Rush team comp, even with a Zen team comp I would say, but most like with a Rush team comp, like with Lucio plus Baptiste or plus Kiriko plus Moira, I can see them work. If everybody's staying grouped up together. They have a lot of HP, so they can stay in the fights a little bit more. Reaper's gonna have more life steal because he can stay more in the fights. Mei's going to be very annoying and slow everybody down and trigger the DPS passive on everybody. And because she's gonna slow them down, obviously, everybody else will be able to land more shots on them because they're gonna be slower, right? So this, in correlation with everybody's projectile getting buffed, because it's a little bit easier to land your shots right now in Overwatch, makes Mei a really good pick. Both of them are super strong in my opinion, but again, they are map specific. They're map specific, okay? So they don't work on Circuit Royale, for instance. They could, but you can get countered. Great picks, Sombra. I'm not seeing that much Sombra being played in ranked, but this, when I see her, I usually see her like 3 stacks or 4 stacks, and she kind of like punishes ball super hard. She's okay against Zenyatta. Sombra is more like a pick that I expect seeing in the OWCS coming up and in tournament play. She's really good if the entire team is communicating. Just a solid pick overall. This is how Sombra has always been. Better like in team play than in individual play. She's kind of like a DPS that needs some follow-up. If you don't have follow-up, maybe play other DPSs. Hanzo, only if it's your main. Hanzo's more of a playstyle change for him. I think that he can still work. Yes, he cannot one-shot unless he has a pocket. He only does 240 HP, 240 damage. He needs like 250, and he can get that to damage boost to Discord Orb, to Nano Boost, to Mercy damage boost, for instance. But I think that he's still pretty okay. I'm seeing some Hanzos being played because there are no one-shots in the game other than Widowmaker. Then he can go for riskier shots, he can take like more time to land the shots, and his E is pretty good against tanks, bro. I'm gonna say it, it's pretty good against tanks. Like just spam the E even against squishies. It's on a pretty low cooldown. You have the Sonic Carry, which is like a mini wall hack, used a lot. The Dragon's pretty decent, but if you're good at Hanzo, I think you can still play him. Bastion. I expected Bastion to be played a little bit more going into Season 9, but I think that we're not seeing him because it's pretty easy to discord him and kite away when he's using his form. I think that it has been enough months since his rework, and the player base has slowly but surely learned to play again around Bastion Spark Spike. Yes, you can still get value out of him and stuff, but going into turret form, everybody just kites that out. Everybody's expecting it. So you can still get value out of him, but you have to be really good at him. Torbjorn, I was thinking about putting Torbjorn in great picks. I think that Torbjorn does amazing in this meta. When he uses his E, he's very tanky. He's really good against high HP targets because he has like a shotgun. The turret can trigger the passive across the map when everybody just needs like 1 damage. Torb is a solid pick overall. I know how it sounds. Torb is a very solid pick. I think it's a great pick. It's just that these heroes bring a little bit extra to the table than Torb does. But if I have a Torb in my team, am I going to be upsetty spaghetti? I'm not going to be upsetty spaghetti. I've won a lot of games with Torb in my team, and I've lost games against Torb in the enemy team. He's good. Too much effort. Symmetra. Okay, I think Symmetra needs buffs. I think Symmetra needs buffs. Yeah, TP is cool. Yes, the ultimate is cool, but because of the new breakpoints, she's not as dangerous as before. So what happens if you just like right-click? I think you need like, what, 2 or 3 right-clicks right now to get kills. And also with her beam, it takes the same amount of time to charge the beam, and then people are playing from long distance, so what are you going to do with a beam? It's the same as Zarya. Like, yeah, you can TP in them and stuff, but she doesn't have that explosive burst damage that she needs in order to be playable. Right now, you can play her, I think, on some maps, but you have to get value out of your teleporter. You have to get value out of your teleporter. People have to play around with you. It's a little bit harder than before. And that's about it for Sim. Cassidy. Cassidy, I don't know what to say about Cassidy, bro. I think it's just too much effort. Even if you land your shots, the nade is okay. The range is a little bit too big for him to be efficient. No, I'm sorry, Cassidy is just too much effort. Why go with heroes that shoot like this? Pew, pew, pew. To trigger the DPS passive when you can go with heroes that shoot like this. You know what I mean? 1 bullet of this compared to pew, pew, pew. Why do that? And why pick him? High Noon doesn't matter that much. His role, let's be honest with each other, it's just a reload mechanic. His High Noon is also a reload mechanic. Yes, he's tankier when he does that. He has damage resistance. Sure, cool, thumbs up, but whatever. That's about it. He needs faster fire rate or needs like some extra damage so that you actually have a reason to pick him. Junkrat. Junkrat also suffers a lot in Season 9, same as Cassidy and Sim. I feel like you cannot one-shot with Junkrat anymore. That is a key aspect of his kit. And spam, 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 yeah, cool and stuff, but we're all staying far away from you. Who are you gonna spam? You know what I mean? If he wants to close the distance, he's not that threatening as before because he cannot one-shot you. That was the thing with Junkrat. So if he gets up and close to you, oh god, Junkrat, right now, oh, Junkrat, fine. So this is why Junkrat is not that good right now. And Pharah, no idea. I've seen some Pharahs win. I've seen some Pharahs lose. I've seen Pharah mains play a lot of Pharah and lose and win. I don't know if she's good or not. I think that the rework was a good change to her. I think that she's more versatile than before. You can play her in more team comps than before. You don't necessarily need a Mercy pocket, but she's very incredibly mechanically intensive. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like you learn to play Doomfist with all his mechanics. That's how Farah is right now. Like a lot of all over the place. Too soon to say. No idea how strong she actually is. And last but not least, let's talk about supports. Zenyatta hard carry, the meta-defining hero of Season 9 in the first week, my opinion. He is just incredible. He has 275 HP right now. Zenyatta has always been amazing in metas where if he can stay alive for long, if he can go for like a 5-course meal rather than just go to a fast food, he's just going to nom 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 everybody in the enemy team. You want to take your time, you want to poke him out, perfect. You have time to do that. They want to dive you, I kick you away. Melee got buffed to 40, apply Discord Orb, I think that's 75 damage or 70 damage that you do just with a melee. Just incredible. Discord Orb is an ability super good against big health pools. It effectively just makes everybody, the affected target's health pool a little bit lower. It just increases the damage that the target is going to be receiving. And Discord Orb synergizes really well with the DPS passive as well. So of course you gotta Discord Orb them and then apply the DPS passive, in which they can't even receive that much healing in the first place. Super strong here right now. Plus, he's another reason why we also see him being played, including in what I was considering before suboptimal supporting compositions because of the lack of sustain and the lack of heroes that can actually work with low amounts of sustain in the game. Zenyatta has seen an emergence also because of the healing passive that tanks and DPSs now have alongside with supports. The fact that it can stay outside of combat and don't have to swap your orb to that target means that you can focus more on getting kills and landing shots. Tracer doesn't necessarily have, you don't non-stop have to have the orb on Tracer. Of course you should be doing that, but it's not a life of death or death situation in which a half HP Tracer will just stare at you and scream at you, orb me. A lot of Tracers that I've had right now, I played a lot of Zenyatta this season. A lot of Tracers that I've had right now would just stand still, hold the high ground, wait for the passive to kick in. Before, that was not possible. So all these factors... Oh, and also it's easy to land shots with him, right? Because everybody got a projectile size buff, and he's a projectile, so easy to land shots too with him. All these factors created the perfect storm for Zenyatta meta in Season 9. And now, the two supports that work with him really well, the three supports that work really well with him, are the great picks. Zenyatta plus Lucio is the supporting comp that I have never ever thought I would see. Doesn't make, like, the last time I saw Zenyatta with Lucio was, I think, in Overwatch 1, the first iteration of Dive, in which literally the meta was, I think, Winston, D.Va, Tracer, Genji, Lucio, Zenyatta. And you know how it went? Literally went like this. Zenyatta team, Zenyatta team. Who trades backline first wins. That was literally it. That was the game. You would not take your time and spam them out. Nope, just trade Zenyatta's. Who landed more headshots, who was like better mechanically and stuff, would just win this. Zen would just die on cooldown nonstop. There was no way of keeping him alive, but we did not have a lot of support options back then. You did not have Break being released. So, Lucio, Zen makes an emergence again in this meta. Lucio, and let's cover why he works. Let's go in 3 parts. Number 1, he received some huge buffs to his boop. Right now, he can boop tanks away. You could not do that. I mean, you could, but the boop range was way shorter than it is right now. So, a huge buff to his boop. Also, he can stay alive for longer, obviously, and farm his ultimate faster because bigger projectile size, same as everybody, but it's a huge advantage for Lucio because he has insane mobility. Secondly, he works in rush team comps. So let's say you don't want to play a Zenyatta team comp, you can play with Lucio Ramatra, right? You can play Lucio Ramatra Baptiste, you can play Lucio Ramatra Kiriko, you can play with Junker Queen comps. Speed boost is still a super valuable ability for long range, for like rush team comps. And why he works with Zenyatta is I never thought about the synergy. I'll be honest, I never thought about the synergy. They have such a huge boopability factor. Like, oh my goodness. You want to dive them, Lucio boops you, Zenyatta kicks you. What? You want to dive them, Lucio speed boosts away. your team doesn't need healing if they play with Ball and Tracer. The Zenyatta Orb is enough, plus the passive, plus the health packs. It's enough, bro. So this is why Lucio is really good at bodyguarding Zen right now. Just speed boost away. And if you can somehow get your ultimates up, both of you, trying to get kills through Lucio's beat and Transcendence, oh my god, that's an almost impossible task. Speaking of almost impossible tasks, it's almost impossible to dive a Brig. We all know this. I'm kidding. Brig excels in dive team comps. Brig is good in Season 9, and I'm seeing Brig being played in more than just dive team comps. Also, I'm seeing Brig being picked, being preferred, being less preferred than Lucio is in some team comps too. So, let's break this down. Classically. Throughout time, the meta for Zenyatta has always been having a Brig to protect you, right? So Brig is really good at bodyguarding people, right? She has a shield, she's gonna be there, she's gonna pack you. If D.Va dives in, your healing will go through defense matrix. She cannot eat that. You're just a good support that excels at peeling. She's still amazing at that. But she's also good right now against poke comps. Not necessarily against dive comps. Why? Because she has a shield. So if Widowmaker wants to snipe you, you just Widowmaker's here, you stay here, you shield up, you walk, take the corner, shield breaks, I hold this corner. You close the distance, and eventually the team that wants to play long range will have a mini tank in front of them ready to brawl. Very strong pick overall for Brig. And to realize how strong Lucio and Brig are right now, my opinion, I've been playing them a lot. I'm not the best player at them, and I'm winning so many games just because I'm picking Lucio plus Brig with a Zenyatta. Really great pick. Also, a solid pick, Baptiste. Baptiste is the same as Sigma is, same as Sojourn and Soldier, I feel like. He's just good overall. He might not, you might do a lot, might not feel sufficient a lot of the times, but I feel like you can almost never go wrong with Baptiste, right? You can play Baptiste in rush comps, you can play Baptiste with almost every support in the game if you can like land your right clicks. It's easier to land your shots right now. His aim style changed a little bit, so instead of like trying to aim down at the chest level whenever you're shooting because of the recoil, I tend to aim more left than right, because even though I'm gonna miss the head a little bit because of the headshot, because of the bullet increase change that all heroes received, it's easier to land headshots with him. So aim style change to Baptiste here. He's just good overall. He can work with Zenyatta. The one time I feel like Bap doesn't work that well with Zenyatta and Lucio and Brig do a better job is if the enemy team wants to go with D.Va, because you're gonna have your lamp, you're gonna have your regenerative burst, but D.Va is just going to defense matrix your right clicks. Moving on, Kiriko. Kiriko, playstyle wise, you cannot go on the side in Season 9 and 2-tap a DPS, right? You can't do that anymore. You need 2 taps plus a melee or a body shot. So playstyle wise, she didn't receive buffs, I think. Playstyle wise, she changed a little bit. You can't quite do that. You can do that, but not as efficient as before. The reason why I'm putting her like a little bit lower than others is because her healing will not feel that strong if the DPSs are, if you're healing the targets that are being affected by the DPS passive. So you can get value out of the Suzu, you can get value out of your Fox, still a super strong ultimate, but you're gonna see that you're gonna spend a lot of the time in game just heal botting and using the Suzu to make sure that your team is at full HP, rather than going on the side and flanking. Talking about a lot of damage and HP, Moira. Moira is a great pick overall. She brings healing, she brings damage, that's about it. The amount of numbers, the numbers that I have with her are huge. Every Moira player that I've seen in ranked get huge amount of numbers with her, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna win games. If your team just needs healing and just needs some damage here and there, pick Moira. She's okay. She can also peel for Zenyatta. You can just like left click the Zen. You can play around D.Va. You can play around almost every team comp, but I feel like sometimes your team wants a little bit more than just healing and damage, because it's support, not healer. So please, Blizzard, please give her some other form of utility. Give her a slow, give her any crowd control, give her anything. She's okay though. She is okay to play. Only if it's your main. I'm an Ana main. I play a ton of Ana, and I also did some changes with Ana at the beginning, playstyle wise. the more I played in Season 9. At the beginning of the season, I was playing Ana the same as in previous seasons, which is obviously like look for more aggressive opportunities and stuff. And then I was like, bro, my entire team is dying and nobody's following up on the nades and the sleep darts and whatnot. My win rate increased. I'm more than 50% right now. And the changes that I did were I was looking for more defensive nades like the ones on allies, increase the amount of healing that I can do to them so I could actually sustain the amount of damage that my team was taking. And number 2, look for nano boosts. Like I was playing to nano boost as much as I possibly can. So if you want to play with Ana, look for more defensive nades rather than aggressive ones, because the DPS passive is kind of like a mini version of Ana's nade. So nade is not as valuable as it was before. So look for more defensive nades to heal your team with them. Try to save your sleep dart for self PL, or you can look for picks, depends on the team comp, and try to nano as much as you can. Mercy. Only fits your main. Mercy is harder to kill right now because more HP, can get more guesses because more HP. And because of the new breakpoints, she can help DPSs melt through targets and tanks a little bit faster than before. And supports, of course. So, like for example, Hanzo does 240 damage without damage boost, but with damage boost, Hanzo can one-shot. So pick Mercy to pocket a DPS, and you're going to see they're going to be having a lot of fun and going to be winning a lot of games. I think Mercy's okay, but you have to move non-stop all around the place. And one more thing, with Mercy, go in full DPS mode when you use your Valkyrie. The bullet size is huge. Take advantage of that and secure some kills for your team. Maybe even ask for nano boost. And we have 2 more heroes to go. Too much effort. Illari needs buffs. She's the weakest support right now. She's the weakest support right now in the game, in my opinion, in Season 9. She needs some pylon buffs. It's very easy to break the pylon. She doesn't do that much damage. Yes, it's easier to land the shots and stuff, but I mean, you're not gonna eliminate anybody. They're just gonna run into cover. Her ultimate is pretty hard to land, and if you go in the sky and try to land the shots on them, then you're just gonna get melted by Discord or by everybody just focusing you down. Illari just needs some help. She doesn't break that much to the table other than damage, healing, and a little bit of soft off angling, which you will be punished for it if you do it, because they're gonna break your pylon and then they're gonna focus you. If you play Illari with your team, you're not gonna get that much value. You want to play on the side, do some damage to the enemies and contest them, but that's about it for her. So she needs some help. And Lifeweaver, the final hero over here, I put Lifeweaver in this part, the last one, because I think that he's too much effort, but I think he's too much effort in the meta. Okay, I think that Lifeweaver's numbers are good. It's just that everybody just explodes everywhere. And he only does, I think, 70 healing per Blossom, max healing per Blossom, and that is not enough when Discord Orb is like this. And also combined with the DPS passive. Sure, his spell platform is cool, and his pool is cool too, and his Steal of Life is nice. You're gonna get it available. But I've had games in which you use these abilities, and then you need them again, and you check your cooldown, but I have them in 5 or 6 seconds. So if they want to make Lifeweaver viable in a meta like this, he has to have his pool available faster. I know it's a strong ability, but it's one that he has to have available faster. Can you get value out of Lifeweaver? Sure, but you will be a little bit frustrated from time to time because you're gonna feel like your healing is not sufficient to help your teammates out, and that is what Lifeweaver excels at, just giving life to everybody around him, and also giving some utility with his spell platform and his pool. Please let me know in the comments what you think about my tier list going into Season 9, and 1 week into Season 9, I mean. Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? And if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe. Till next time, ML7 out.